Oh, that was the girl deep throating the corn on the cob. That was that one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's okay. That's cool.
It's definitely a vibe, you know what I mean? Vibe check. Yeah. Yeah.
Am I doing it right? Yeah, how do you go like
There
this?
is no doing it right. You just gotta do it with like flow.
Hey, cut it out. I don't know. Was that right, Eric?
You gotta do it along to the beat, and then it's right. There you go. you. Let's go, dude.
You're
bringing it in.
Yeah, man. I'm doing it. We're doing the thing.
What's the date?
Today's the 23rd.
So this is June 23rd.
It is
2020, baby.
Yeah, I'm losing track of time. Just
we out here, bro.
The Corona thing, the everything, all the thing. It's all.
Yeah, I don't think like time even matters anymore.
No,
it's just like,
dude, can you believe 4th of July is like right on the corner too?
Yeah, I think that's when the world's ending. Actually,
is it?
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the world's ending on 4th of July. Right. I think like the fireworks across the country are gonna all be set off at the same time, and then it's gonna activate the supervolcano in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And then like Corona's gonna make a big swing through again, and like it's just all gonna. And then there's a meteor that's gonna hit as well on 4th of July. So I think that's where we're heading, dude.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So what we got like?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We got like a week and some change.
Yeah, like 10 days or something like that.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah, we got 11 days. I don't know, 2 weeks. It's cool though. I'm ready, dude. I'm tired of it. Let's just start over or something. Just whatever.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
fucking thing.
The world will continue on, but we just won't be here anymore.
That's okay. I'm all right. The world doesn't need me that much.
Yeah.
I'm just a regular dude.
The dolphins will be the next
civilization.
Yeah, like the apex thing on the planet.
Yeah, they're smarter than us, dude. That's fine. Speaking of dolphins, you know who had a good dolphin bit in their special is Chris D'Elia.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
And speaking of which,
yeah,
Chris D'Elia.
Chris is in the news. He's being called out by a bunch of women who had some conversations and interactions with him. Allegedly, some were underage during these conversations and interactions.
So 16, right? That was a big thing. She was 16.
That was the one girl. Yeah. So before I get into this, I want to preface this first of all that I want to do this as unbiasedly as possible. Up until now, I was a huge fan of Chris D'Elia. I enjoy his podcast. I enjoy his stand-up. As an artist, I really enjoyed his content, you know? So when I found this out, obviously it was pretty heartbreaking for me. Because you never want like someone that you like look up to or someone that you really enjoy their stuff to like be a weirdo or a creep or whatever. But like when I first heard it, I'm not gonna lie, I had this weird reaction. It's like, oh, here we go again with the cancel stuff. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's really tough to deal with from someone who's a fan. You know what I mean? So like if I didn't care about the person, I'd just be like, fuck that guy, you know?
Fuck that guy. Yeah, but you have a bias towards it, dude.
Exactly.
So do I. And like, I mean, I kind of do too, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I really want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm looking at these tweets, dude. I mean, I'm looking at these like DMs and stuff that he's sending these girls.
So there's this article is on the Daily Beast. So they were talking about this one girl who's Simone. I think that was the first one that blew up, and she was like 16 at the time. So in addition, this is what the article is saying. In addition to Oakland, the Daily Beast spoke with 16 people about D'Elia, 10 of whom personally interacted with the comic and were able to substantiate their claims with emails, texts, and direct messages dating back as early as 2011. Another spoke on behalf of a friend, but was able to corroborate the same. Nearly all requested anonymity, which the Daily Beast grants to minors and victims of sexual misconduct. Of those 11, 3 were underage when he messaged them. 1 was 18, 2 were 19, 4 were 21, and 1 was 25. So that's the information, and I want to know the facts. Like, everyone wants to know the facts. Mm-hmm. We're looking at it. I'm not gonna say that what he's doing is right. Obviously, it's completely wrong. It's wrong to be someone who has influence and power and like using that to maybe interact with people, especially if they're underage. You know what I mean? Like using that as like a way to get, influence or, over people.
Yeah, but
using that as a thing.
Just the other thing in general, dude, is that if you're like almost 40, don't stop talking to like what do you have in common with an 18-year-old girl or 17 or 16, even if she was 20? Like, I have a hard time talking to a 20-year-old. It's exhausting, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, just in general, like, what are you, a grown man? Like, I guess, dude, like, if you want to bust nuts or something, like a 20-year-old or whatever, dude, like, I get it, dude. You're on the road, you get a little lonely and you start perusing through what's around, dude. Like, I guess, but you're a little too old. Even if you were 35 and she was 19, which is legal, but that's still a kid. Like, what do you, I don't, I'm not trying to talk to anybody under, I don't know, at this point, 25. All right, whatever, maybe a little bit.
Well,
you're just like as a person, and I'm married. I'm married. But I mean, like, just talk to, even just have a conversation, like as a friend. Like, all of my friends are now in their 30s. And that's who I have stuff in common with. Like, I have apps. It's actually exhausting to talk to like people who are like Gen Z at this point. Like, a lot of, I have siblings that are Gen Z, some other cousins, some whatever. Like, that's fine, but I have nothing in common with, like, I don't know, dude. It's a hard thing to like even if they were of legal age, but they were like 20 and Chris D'Elia is like almost 40. It's like, yo, like, that's creepy, right?
Yeah.
That can be considered creepy.
For sure.
Even if it is legal, if they are of legal age, like, that's fucking creepy, dude. Like, it's fucking creepy. You're like, you're almost twice somebody's age, dude. Like, that's creepy.
For sure. Yeah. So, and that's along the side of like, there's no defending that.
Yeah.
In itself, and I'm not trying to defend Chris D'Elia at all, I think the point that I want to make is like, we're so quick to like jump against, the people in Hollywood or comedians or whoever, but we also have people that are like running our country that are accused of, some would say, more heinous crimes. And like, where's the outrage about that? You know what I mean? Like, where's the like outrage, like, believe all women against like someone who's running for president?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus like, okay, well, now we're gonna all attack like Joe Rogan because he had Joey Diaz on his podcast talking about some shit he did like 20 years ago, which obviously is like vulgar, but that's what that is. It's comedy. You know what I mean?
I mean, I heard Joey Diaz's response to it, and first of all, he's a savage.
Yeah, he's a savage.
He just doesn't give a fuck. And he's not necessarily defending it from a standpoint of like, he thinks he knows like what he does is wrong.
Yeah.
And it is like, I don't know, man. It's interesting because like, yo, if I was the same, like, there's no possible way that I could be the same person. Like, if I was 16 or 17 and someone found some like stupid shit that I said. Like, dude, like, I can't even hold myself to that same standard. Like, just being a fucking idiot, dude. Thinking stupid. Like, I haven't, like, at that age, I don't even think, like, up until 25, I started having original thoughts of my own. Like, up until I was like 25, 26, I was just like repeating stupid shit that I've heard that sounded like a good idea. Like, I couldn't even formulate like my own opinion or view on something up until like just a few years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think within the last like 3 years, I think.
So like, yeah, I know, dude. Like, so dude, if like, I don't know, man, like, there's something out there. I probably said something fucking stupid too, but it's like, yo, like, who hasn't? Who hasn't said or thought or been in some certain way that was very shitty, dude? Who hasn't?
Yeah.
You know, like who hasn't been on the freeway and like a car swerves into you and you look over and the dude's Asian? Like who hasn't thought that thought? Tell me who.
Me.
Yeah. No.
No, I've never thought that ever.
That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But who hasn't, dude? Everybody's been like a little racist. Everybody's been a little intolerant. Everybody's said some fucked up shit to somebody else at some point in their life, dude. It's just sort of like a natural thing. I've said it here on the podcast, dude. If I thought the same way I did 10 years ago, and if I think in 10 years the same way I think now, then I'm very closed-minded. I'm not growing as a human being. But like growth is just sort of a natural part of your life. You know, like, I don't know, man. Like Joey Diaz has never like said to want to be one as an example in the community or anything either. And I think, he was making an interesting point, which is like, the same thing. He's like, yeah, man, we did shitty things, dude. But like, he's had more women on his podcast, like more female comedians on his podcast than everyone else. Like, let me also say that it's like absolutely like abhorrent doing that. What he did like 20 years ago, but like, I don't know. It's really interesting because it's usually the super social justice person is like, that's a little shady to me. Because it's like, if you crash your car and the first thing you say is like, I haven't been drinking, It's like, no. If I push so hard, people aren't going to look at me for the shit that I've done. Like I'm above resolve. Like,
yeah.
Like that's why so like, you can just be a normal person and just like do the right thing. If you're like pushing so hard, it almost makes me wonder like, what the fuck have you been doing?
Yeah. I mean, there's that. I think there's something that's been that the conversation that I think we need to have is like, at what point, like, where's the cutoff? At what point can someone like engage in redemption of themselves? At what point can we forgive somebody? At what point, like, is it like there must be some point?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like, if it's like, let's say even our like past, we weren't like necessarily like upstanding citizens.
Dude, we were
in society.
Drug addicts, dude.
So like, at what point can I not be like held accountable for something I did? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And like that still reflects who I am as in today. And that's not not specifically with Crystalia, but this is the conversation that like, at what point, if you like admit that you're wrong, if you make amends, if you change your behavior, if you're a different person, like at what point can we not dig shit up from like 30 years ago? And
I don't know. And I think like, I mean, just kind of what you said, like I'm really protective about it, or at least I feel a certain way because, like, I was a drug addict, dude. And I had a mentality of like, I'm a piece of shit and I'm going to do what pieces of shit do. Like I stole from my parents, dude. I like used people. I did like, I'd like just like crushed people with my presence and like my words. And I just like to make myself feel, I was just not a good person.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I guess it's a little more sensitive to me because like we've made such an effort to become such opposites of what we came from. And now we get to like do good for other people in different facets of our community through here on this podcast, like share our experience and like maybe hopefully somebody will hear that and it'll get them to think a little bit. But dude, at what point? I don't know.
Well,
because, like this is bad, Like if this is true, this is true, like let's also put that if this is true, and at the same time, like I don't know, dude, because I hold a lot of sympathy for women because I'm not a woman and I don't know what it's like to be a woman every day, and like I'm a dude and I'll recognize that I have privilege as a guy, right? Like of course I do. So I don't know, man. I don't know what it's like to be preyed on. I don't know what those feelings are like. And I also don't know like what it's like to hold this in for this long. Just imagine that, like if it were true, so this believe all women, don't believe all women, wait for the facts. I just feel like there's so much more nuance in every situation.
There has to be nuance.
Like the absolutes just get really reckless. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and we're in a time of absolutes.
Yeah.
Left, all the way left, like extreme left, extreme right. Like everyone's just painting fucking absolutes. Like, and it's like we are in a time where nuance is more important than ever, dude.
Yeah, because nuance means let me think about this. Nuance doesn't enact an immediate emotional response to something. Like some things are emotionally fucking like goddamn, like what we've been going through this last month, if that hasn't gotten to our emotions, like
Yeah.
But nuance takes self-control.
And we're in such, I mean, our situations are so much more complex than issues maybe, you know, a couple 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we just have way more people. We have way more things going on, you know. So there's just so much going on and there's so much information that it's so easy to just accept things at face value and be like, this is the absolute and this is just the way it is. But like there is so much nuance going on at all times. That's why it's so important to just like think about it a little bit, or you know, have these conversations, because I don't know the right answer. You know what I mean,
dude?
Like I don't know what's right. I don't know, like in this situation, I don't really know what's right. But I think that there needs to be some barometer of like how we judge these situations. You know what I mean? And it's not just all like it's all always bad and it's all always like good. You know what I mean?
Maybe it'll level out. With such an intensity to just get pushed one way, maybe it just ends up centering itself. I mean, like,
I don't know. We'll see, dude.
You know, I don't know, but I don't know because, like, there's just a lot of stuff where I don't even know how to feel at sometimes, dude. Yeah. Like, there's like super woke stuff. Then if I don't play, like, you know, this now, like, the thing that I've been struggling with is this Latinx thing. And like, dude, I just don't know what to think about certain things. And I feel like I have to have an answer or I have to fit in. And then suddenly, if I'm not on board with the Latinx thing, then I'm not on board with the culture, dude. Like, fuck, dude. You know? Like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about certain things either. I don't even have the answer. And like, I've had people ask me about that too. And I'm just like, dude, honestly, like, I don't know. Maybe I just hold to whatever, and just let somebody be what they like. Let that thing just be what it wants to be, and I don't have to fight it or try to like submit into it. Like maybe it's just how I identify with my pronoun. Maybe I'm Latino, but that person is Latinx, you know? But I don't know, dude. There's so much going on right now too that I'm like, that I think is just hard to navigate because there's so much of it, dude. You get on Facebook, you get on Instagram, you get on your news stories, you get on all these things, and there's a million different things that you should be for or should be against. And it's just those two goddamn options. There's not let's think about and work on a way to look at this way. There's either you're for it or you're against it. And if you're not, you're misogynistic. If you are, you're a soy boy snowflake. And if you're, you know, like all of these things, and you have to walk around every single day carrying this goddamn anxiety producing machine in your pocket. And I like have to put it down sometimes because I'm like, like the funny thing is that as we're talking right now, like none of this exists. It just exists as soon as my iPhone unlocks with my face. So I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I don't think any of us know. And I think it would be a good exercise to put the shit down and fucking go out in nature, dude.
Yeah.
Just disconnect for a while and then come back and be like, okay, all this shit, now we can resume all the other shit. But
I guess, dude.
You know
that's like a real Burning Man response, dude.
Yeah. Dude, telling you, go out to the desert for like a week and just not give a fuck about your cell phone. It's pretty lit.
Yeah, that's a super Burning Man response.
But like, on this whole like extreme topic, so I was watching the Trump rally in Arizona before I came to the podcast. Because I just wanted to see what it's all about. You know what I mean? I literally just watched the rally just to see what it's all about. And it's pretty wild, man. I don't want to like talk about Trump too much on this podcast. We all know it's been going on for 3.5 years. Like everyone's nitpicked at him. Everyone's defended him. I mean, the whole thing is just like a mess. But I was listening to this rally, and it seemed like a lot of the things he was talking about are things that he hasn't necessarily done for the country. It's just like things that have happened.
Like what?
So one thing he like was boasting about was sending Americans to outer space.
Have we really done that?
Well, so SpaceX, which is a private company run by Elon Musk, has sent people to outer space through his rockets.
So he's claiming that.
It's just like, yeah, and it's like, we built 200 miles of the wall in near Yuma. Like, it's all these like things, but there's no real substance. It's just like almost like, hey, look at what we did. Like, one of the points he made was about the lowest unemployment rate for Black people, like in history or something.
I saw that one toted around.
Yeah, that's a big talking point. Yeah. But at some point, it was the lowest unemployment in general.
Yeah, just in the history.
So it's not like that he did something specifically for the Black population to make unemployment lower. It's not like we addressed any root causes or concerns. It was just like, oh, well, this is a stat that we can just throw around and be like, yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of that, and I really want to listen and hear something that I can like agree with and be like, yeah, okay, you know what? Like you did do that.
Yeah.
So I was looking for that.
I commend you for trying.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's not a lot of that, and I commend you for trying. At this point, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to try to keep up, and it's just exhausting. And like, because I look at that and then I start to think deeper. It's like, yo, what are these people like? The people who are eating it up. Yeah, we did that. It's like our team. Yeah, we're responsible for that. And there's this weird, I don't know. Like, I've been trying to think so much about this lately, about this like new modern day conservatism, which isn't conservatism to me.
Well, you want to hear an interesting point before you go off on this point?
Yeah.
So one of the things Donald Trump mentioned is that he thought it should be, they should pass a law that if you burn a flag, you should go to prison for a year. And everyone in the fucking room was cheering, right? But like, that is literally like a First Amendment right. So you'd actually be like against the Constitution if you're for that.
Yeah. So
like, how can you be a conservative, but then you'd be so obviously against the Constitution?
So this is what I'm seeing so much of, right? Because like I said, what I'm seeing today isn't true conservatism. And like, I'm seeing this ideology being shaped around this one individual, being shaped around like other belief systems, all into this thing. It's become a belief system. It's become an ideology, and almost like a religious ideology in that, right? It's MAGA. We have our thing. We have our team. We have our saying. We have our slogan that we stand behind. We have our flags that we wave. Back the blue, thin blue line. All of these things which are pretty goddamn anti-conservative. Because the other mistake is that patriotism isn't loyalty to your government. And the thing that we were seeing now with protests and police officers, assaulting people on their own property, enforcing curfews, a big, big government overreach. Very anti-conservative. All of these things happening with all the laws. And I'm just thinking of this subjectively.
Yeah.
Because from what we have seen, Trump has passed more laws against, what would be deemed against the Second Amendment than any president has previous to him. Very anti-conservative. And like, the interesting thing is that like, he was a Democrat before he ran for the Republican.
Yeah, he was
Party.
Always a Democrat.
Yeah. And there's that old clip, and someone asked him, would you ever run for president? And he said, no, but if I ever would, I would run as a Republican because they are the dumbest ones, right?
He actually said that.
He actually said that. So it's just so uncomfortable to me because, like, you guys know, I lean pretty conservatively, but I lean from like a little bit, like the more of like, hey, Jesse, whatever you want to do, I don't care, dude.
Yeah.
You should have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, it's more like libertarian.
Yeah. So there's this now like I've seen like it's just the same thing, dude. This ideology with like super woke, super this, whatever, and super, super like, idealistic conservatism. It's not true conservatism. And the reason why I'm so hard on them, because like I said, I lean pretty conservatively. And like from my understanding and what I thought we were supposed to be a little bit more free thinkers. And it's not happening anymore. Right. Yeah, we got the wall built.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did this. Yes, this. We're going to make America great again without thinking of the implications of what that might mean. A great again for what? And I feel like we've had this conversation before, right? But just that in itself, taking that thing and wrapping yourself up in that and not having the ability to think, like, what does that mean? You've lost it.
Yeah.
You've lost it.
Yeah. Well, and so if you look at, this is the last thing I want to talk about this topic, is just like, if you look at 2016 Trump, like he had firepower, dog. Like he had so much stuff where people were like, yeah, dude, you know, like they were. But now if you watch like the rallies, it's more just like he's
cheering his fans.
He's speaking to a very select group of people. And it's like dangerous rhetoric to the point where it's like everyone else is like the bad guy. You know what I mean? It's like, look at those crazy fucking left people like burning down buildings and fucking tearing down our fucking statues and shit. It's just like a very divisive way, which we know that that's a thing. But it's just like, at this point, I'm just hoping that people on either side can just take it in and like see it for what it is and not get wrapped up in the stuff. Because I personally don't like to like be on the one side or the other. You know, I don't like to be like, oh, I'm a fucking lefty and everything that's on the right side is wrong. Like that's not the right way to go about it at all. Like I genuinely want to see like what's true and what's not true. You know what I mean? And like if we can all just be like, yo, this shit's true or not, because most of the shit coming out of the White House right now is not true.
Yeah.
Then we'd be better off, you know what I mean? Than versus being like, oh yeah, well, our guy is like saying that 80% of the country is bad. So, and we're the good guys. So
it makes you pick a side.
Yeah.
It makes you look at everything around you and they're either on my side or they're not. And that's what's super dangerous. And while these things were going on also, it's like I was seeing these tweets or these other things like of people planting very dangerous ideas into people's head. Like, this war is coming to your front door and I hope you're prepared. Right? A conservative I don't know, person who fuck, I lost the fucking word.
Yeah, well,
commentator.
Okay.
Yo, that's dangerous, dude. Because that's not even the case.
Yeah.
That's so dangerous. Can you imagine like what responsibility those words have to somebody be like, you know what? Yeah. Like how you're going to start viewing your neighbor because of that. How are you going to view the person driving down? We're on a side. The war is at my front step. Everybody around me is either my enemy or is on my side. Yo, how dangerous is that, dude? That's so dangerous. And like, you don't even have, and like and for some people, like that is their thing to stir the pot.
Well, and the people who are speaking that way know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they're purposely trying to rouse people and get people excited or create like divisiveness or hate or whatever it is. Like there's no other way you can explain it.
And it's just people eat it up.
Yeah, and the thing is like the left or the Democrats, you know, and the Republic, like no one is right in the situation of like creating sides and like, oh, your side sucks and your side's better. Like no one is right in that situation. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I think we just need to be real with what our current state of affairs is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, be okay with saying I don't know. Is that so hard?
Yeah. Well, not for me specifically.
No. I mean, just in general though, like, yo, hey, it's okay to say.
I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, dog.
It's okay to say I don't know. When did we feel like we had to have an opinion on everything or have to have the answers? It's okay to say I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess perfectly okay. So you know what, dude? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Yeah, let's move on to another one, man. You wanted to talk about this Bolivia thing.
Yeah. So this just came across my awareness. I think it happened a while ago, but
Yeah, it says it.
it's like 2019 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in my world, because there's so much going on here, it's like it's hard to like get news from other places. You know what I mean? Like news from Bolivia, news from South America. But I've just found out about this, and it's something that's still happening. So there was this Bolivian president who was democratically elected, and he was part of the indigenous population in Bolivia.
Evo Morales.
That's his name? Morales. So...
first indigenous president of
Bolivia. Yeah, and he was really doing a lot of like socialist type things to help the people of the country. And like he was a favorite. Like he got reelected like I think 4 times in a row.
3 times. I think he was going up for his 4th, and so that's where a little bit of this tension gets created.
Yeah.
Because according to their constitution, he was actually like termed out, but he went to appease like their Congress. Hey, let me run one more time, and they let him, even though like it was against their constitution. They did. So that's where some of this tension started to arise. And
anyway,
sorry, I just left you hanging like I was gonna say.
I thought you were gonna take over for a sec.
No.
So there was this coup that was established by a very small minority, I guess you could say, of right-wing, like
right-wing
white Christians.
Yeah, but like white Latinos.
White ring.
Ooh, just so dark.
Latinos, yeah. Mm-hmm. Where they basically overthrew him and also like are threatening to kill his family and him if he comes back, and also supposedly, Western powers had a part in this because obviously if Bolivia's doing what's best for Bolivia, it might not be what's best for everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Trump had shown some support. I mean, dude, it's so complicated. It's so complicated because there was like within the race, there was like a certain amount of votes. And with those votes, if there's, if they come within a certain percentage, then they have to be recounted. And like, so the first time it showed that Morales like was not elected. And the second time it said that it was. And then like this other organization that's based in the US, which is like the American something, I forget what it's called, man. Let me find it right here.
OAS?
The OAS, yeah, which is what is it called? What does OAS stand for? Whatever, man. So this agency organization here in the United States, and by the way, like Trump was actually in favor of Morales's like ending his thing because he was a socialist president. And, he said it was send a very clear message to Venezuela, to other surrounding socialist countries, Nicaragua. It would send a message to surrounding socialist countries that people want to take their country back. Ooh, that's dangerous. Right. So that was essentially his statement. So the OAS then also like intervened with this to recount the votes, which is an organization here in the United States. So that's already getting kind of shady. Right. So it's like there's a lot of like just murky stuff.
Yeah,
it's so murky. But the part that really struck me the most was like because of this individual whose party overthrew.
There was a quote, right?
Yeah. So oh man, it was
that part right there.
Right here. So the anti-indigenous racism, right? So Camacho is like many on the right wing in eastern Bolivia who consider themselves white or white-ish, which is something that I've talked about, this white supremacy within Hispanic culture, right? Yeah. And I can go off on it some more, but here's like why I am trying to push so hard against it and have people people who are Hispanic and also white. Like, so there's a long history of anti-indigenous racism and a long history of fascist political organizing in Bolivia that is very much wedded to symbols of Christianity. Indeed, videos posted to social media show anti-indigenous coup supporters burning Bolivia's indigenous Huipala flag and opposition leaders brandishing ostentatious Bible. So then they start turning on indigenous population. They're all Bolivians.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part to me. They're all Bolivians, dude.
Well, it's the same thing as what just like white people coming to South America in general. You know what I mean? It's like you had people that were already living there, and then we came and brought Christianity, yay, and all the things, and like civilization or whatever we want to call it. But that's like what happened originally, you know what I mean? People were always there. So now when the indigenous people are able to like build their own community and society and make it to the top, then it's like, nah, dog, we gotta bring this shit back, bro.
Oh, that's crazy. You know, not to get like super SJW or super woke, but like that's that extension of colonialism. And I was hearing that thing, colonialism. You hear it. It's a triggering talking like buzzword.
Yeah.
Right? You hear it now, colonialism, right? And for a while, dude, I had to sit on like, what does decolonizing our community mean? Because down here in Barrio Logan, like decolonization is a pretty big talking point down here. And I was like, yo, that sounds super woke, bro. Right? I was like, decolonize. I was like, damn, bro, like we're getting really woke around here. And then, of course, like, dude, we got to take a look into it. And this is exactly why, dude. Because a lot of this pushes this like white Hispanic supremacy onto indigenous people and that sphere of influence as well, dude. Like decolonization to me means I am a brown Latino man. I am never going to be white. Now let me lean into my culture and let me lean into my roots and all of this other supremacy that has been rooted, either religious, this suppression, I should say, this colorism, the religion, other things. Like, because if you think about it, like not if you think about it, in history, the genocide of the Aztec people was the biggest genocide in all of history.
That's Cortez, right?
Yeah. Along with that, you got to remember, it's not just people. It is all of our religious things, all of our texts, every part of our history, every single thing of that was erased. So like decolonization means like going back and learning like what it is I came from, who I came from, like taking a look into my culture. I'm Mexican, this person's Mexican, like getting rid of this white supremacy within our culture, like taking, you know, bringing myself back in touch with these things and being okay with that. So that's why, like, you look at these things and you hear people say, like, decolonization, and you get like, whoa, all right, dude. But this is it. This is what this means, you know? Because it's crazy, man. You have white Hispanic people attacking indigenous people. This is 2020, dude. This isn't the early 1500s.
Yeah.
This is 2020. And
right now.
The gross part of it, too, is that, like, they're holding a Bible and doing this under the guise of Christianity, which, dude, what upsets me even more is, oh, shit. Sorry, Matt. banging the...
Fucking getting going in, though.
Banging the microphone. But what gets me more is that, like, people then look at this and say, you see, that's why like Christianity's bad. That's why religion is bad. You see, that's exactly it. And dude, it's like so much damage is being done into this like idealistic thing that you're trying to represent, dude. And then on the other side, it's like, yo, have you read the Bible or tried to look into this thing that you're fighting against? Or do you just have these planted ideas in your head and decide, yeah, you know, and try to fight it? Yo, it's just like ignorance versus ignorance, and not like trying to come together or something, dude. Because like, yo, like, I'm not going to talk shit on the Quran or like other things or things that people wrap themselves up in because I don't know it. You know? What am I going to fight against something I don't know, I've never looked into? And so it pisses me off that this just gives fuel, which is not Christianity. There's nothing Christian about this. There's nothing biblical about this. Yeah. There's nothing Christ-like about this. And now all of the damage that's getting done because of this, dude.
Yeah, well, it's so many things. There's so many layers of it. If you want to get tinfoil hat real quick.
Let's do it, dude. Put it on. Hold on.
Do you want to get tinfoil hat real? Whoa, dude.
I brought them in my bed. No.
Oh, you don't have the tinfoil hat?
No, I don't. Sorry.
All right. So this is like bro fucking science,
All right,
tinfoil hat.
We need some bro science.
Like none of this has been factual or checked, but this is just what I've been thinking about when discussing some of these things. So we know that after World War II, a lot of people that were, on the Axis powers.
Mm-hmm. It's a
There's Allies and Axis. Yeah, the Axis powers fled to South America.
Yes.
We know this.
Argentina, they overtook some parts of Mexico. Argentina was a big spot, though. And they also overtook some places in Mexico.
Brazil?
Yes. My grandma had to hide her brothers when Nazi soldiers would come, because they would come and snatch Mexican men out of the villages, out of the neighborhoods to take them to go fight the war. And my grandma actually had to hide her brothers underneath the house when the soldiers came through multiple times.
Yes.
That's wild.
Okay.
So I just had to say that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
That is an awesome story. Yeah. So we're talking about all these people from the Axis powers who have that right-wing fascist ideology.
Not right wing. It was actually socialist.
Okay, this is where we were trying to talk about it before.
Yeah, so the Nazis National Socialist Party.
Okay,
so it was a very social. It was a socialist.
Okay,
Hitler was. It was a socialist party.
Okay,
so it wasn't a right wing, and that's where it gets kind of muddy with people because there's
you would
an
think fascism though doesn't seem left.
It doesn't, but that's the thing. We're attaching left to
this is tinfoil.
This imperialistic socialist thing.
Okay, so tinfoil. Let's go. So fuck the political ideology. Tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil hat. Okay.
So all these dudes from the Axis powers went to South America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they didn't leave their ideas behind when they left. So over time, these are white people from Europe, now in South America. They're slowly building families and communities and spreading their ideology. And now, however many years later, now we're seeing like very similar styles of like conflict.
Yeah.
Of like there's the dominant race and then there's like the indigenous race and like we're better or we're our ideas are better. So it's like tinfoil hat.
So you think Hitler's alive right now and he's trying to take over Bolivia?
No. I don't think Hitler's alive. But I think that history repeats itself in different ways, and I think it's possible that history is starting to repeat itself in some form of what we saw back then during World War II, early World War II.
Yeah.
Just in a different way now.
Yeah, because there was a very I don't want to get into
this is tinfoil hat theory.
Because I told you yesterday I had like this weird fascination with Hitler when I was like 12 years old. I like wrote a few papers on Hitler in like middle school and read Mein Kampf and stuff, dude, which is super weird for a 12-year-old to do. I don't know what that was all about.
Dude, baby punk rock.
Yeah, it was baby punk rock. There was just something about Hitler, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. So when people like try to compare Trump to Hitler, I'm like,
I didn't say that.
No. I know, but like like a lot of people try to compare Trump to Hitler. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like there's a few stretches in there. But who did support? Who Hitler did support was Teddy Roosevelt. And the reason why I'm bringing Hitler supported Teddy Roosevelt, and the reason why I'm bringing Teddy Roosevelt is because Theodore Roosevelt's statue is getting taken down from the American Museum of Natural History in New York, dude. Have you seen this thing though? Here,
I think I've been outside of the Museum of Natural History.
Eric, you've seen it in person, Eric?
Yeah, I've seen it in person.
What do you think?
What do I think of the? You know what? We just reasonably accept like imagery. So to me, I don't think anything of it. You know what I think of that statue? Night at the Museum. That's what I think. I think of it more that than I think
fucking
of
Robin Williams or whatever.
But I guess subliminally, that is something that is a symbol of a different time. And you know what? With all these statues, there's plenty of fucking museums. Just put all these statues in museums. No one's saying to not acknowledge it, but let's just not have it in the street so people can like see we conquered the Indians and we freed the slaves and we like taught them Christianity. Like we don't promote that, because now we know that that's not the right thing, right? Now we know.
So this is the statue.
So this is a statue. I know you guys can't see it right now. So what it essentially looks like is TDR on a horse, like in a very prominent position.
Yeah, you got to be.
And it's also Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Who was like this elevated example of masculinity, get shot, Rough Riders, get shot, finishes a speech, this whole thing, right? Yeah. So on one side is a Native American man like holding on to his like saddle and his leg, and the other side is an African man holding on to like his saddle and his leg, like propping him up, almost like what it essentially looks like to me when I saw this thing is like, yo, like look what I conquered. And like, dude, this is like, when I look at this, I saw this and I immediately was like, oh, I was like, ugh. You get some of those like, ugh, right? And, and so people are like, yo, they're taking down our history. They're removing the statues. They're rewriting history. They're doing this. But it's like, yo, what actually is history, though? Like, you're claiming that we're taking down history or rewriting it. But like all of these things were like the wrong size of history. Like how many things in school we were taught that weren't the right thing. So you're getting upset by like this thing that was written incorrectly and portrayed incorrectly to pacify like some pretty awful things that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's our American history specifically is a whitewashed history. Like what we learned in what I learned in social studies. And history in general, which I love fucking history. Like I actually really love learning about history and what the past was like and all the different things in between. But what we learned was like that we could do no wrong.
Yeah.
Like that settlers could do no wrong. That we created this beautiful place, which America's fucking awesome. But like there's no like bad parts of like being a settler and just destroying like whole populations of people.
The Pilgrims and the Native Americans had Thanksgiving and then they lived happily ever after.
I didn't learn much about like we didn't spend much time talking about like why the Native Americans are no longer like as powerful as they were. You know what I mean? Like what happened to them? I don't know. We just didn't like them. We had some wars or some shit. Whatever.
Check out what Teddy Roosevelt had to say about Native Americans. I don't go so far as to think that the only good Indian is the dead Indian, but I believe 9 out of every 10 are. And I shouldn't like to inquire too closely into the case of the 10th. The most vicious cowboy has more moral principle than the average Indian. Take 300 low families of New York and New Jersey, support them for 50 years in vicious idleness, and you will have some idea of what the Indians are. Reckless, revengeful, fiendishly cruel.
I think I've heard about this before, actually.
Yeah. That's this man's view. And so in that same year, his book, he says the so-called Shivington or Sandy Creek Massacre, right? This Shivington was like a general who led like this purge of Native Americans. In spite of certain most objectionable details, was on the whole as righteous and beneficial a deed as ever took place on the frontier. That's the man that you're trying to protect?
What, Teddy?
Yeah, this is what he said. So he said, that was a righteous act and that was a beneficial deed for the frontier. This genocide, this massacre, this complete wiping out of these people. And you have a Native American man holding on to him and you're upset that they're taking this down? You're upset. You're claiming this guy's under history. What part of history? What history are you talking about?
American history.
Yeah, you're portraying the wrong. But that's the thing. It's like that's not even the truth.
Yeah,
that thing that you have up isn't even the truth. Like what can't what
But what should a statue be then?
I don't know.
Like, should it be like Teddy Roosevelt, like fighting like natives?
But that's
you know
the
what I
thing
mean?
is like statues are just kind of weird to me, dude.
yeah.
The whole
Well,
idea of a
it's-
statue is fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna put one up, like, yo, that is dark. That is this like I tamed these individuals.
Well, and so that brings us to like idolatry, right?
Yes.
Like idolizing things. Like we gotta like. I mean, it says in the fucking Bible, dude. Like, don't idolize shit, right? And it goes back to like gods. Like we used to build like these elaborate like statues and buildings and like idolizing these gods. But now we idolize our forefathers, people that came before us, right? But you're right. It's like we're idolizing people that did some great shit. Oh shit! Didn't mean to hit this. Did some awesome shit. You know what I mean? Like coming to this country and founding a new country. But there's also a lot of negative, like bad, like morally unsound things.
Well, dude, like American history is pretty violent.
Yeah, it's the craziest stuff. I mean, it's so new too. You know, I'm like when you think about history of other countries, it's like thousands and thousands. Like the Romans, like the Greeks and the fucking Spartans, like thousands of years ago. But like our history is like very recent. And I think we should discuss more of just like the whole history of our country, not just like the good, like the settlers came and they conquered and like,
but
it's great.
Right. What is it called? Manifest Destiny.
I've heard last time I heard that was in like
and that's what we learned, and that's what we learned in school. That it is our God-given right to expand to the West. Oh, I don't know, man. That's just dangerous. Oh, you can add some of that into there, dude. You can add some of that. God told me. Hey, God told me. So it must be okay. God told me. Ooh.
Yeah.
God told me it's okay to kill all these people.
Well, I mean, like I don't want to get into like the religious conversation because that's like literally every fucking like war or like seizure of like land has ever been. Is like God told me that this is what I need to do. So
when I brought up Hitler said this about he proved how, quote, gunned down millions of Redskins to a few 100,000 and now keep modest remnant under observation in a cage.
Well, that sounds like some Hitler shit.
That's super Hitler.
Yeah, that's like his jam.
Yeah. That's crazy, dude. That's what Hitler says. So that's why I brought up
that's
Hitler, because
that was
Hitler
interesting.
like,
I didn't even know that was
Hitler saw that and was like, yo, that's tight.
Yeah. What a fucking dude, that guy was sick as fuck, dude.
Yeah. Yo, so back to that Shivington thing. He says, he's a colonel. Sorry, I said he was a general. So the assault, but there, the massacre at in Colorado territory, he said, I have come to kill Indians, kill and scalp all, big and little, nits and make lice. Soldiers later reported that after killing men, women, and children, they mutilated their bodies for trophies. One lieutenant stated in a congressional investigation, I heard that the privates of white antelope had been cut off to make a tobacco bag out of it.
Okay. Well, yeah. So obviously,
The Winning of the West is what the book was called from Roosevelt. The Winning of the West. I conquered it. Yeah. And so that is what this statue is portraying, man. Why can't we just see that, dude? Just be regular, dude. What, like, stop attaching yourself to these things, dude. Just be normal. Hey, man. Hey, take it easy. It's okay that your views are challenged. Hey, it's okay that you actually didn't know it was this dark.
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay, dude.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't have to defend it because you didn't happen to know. And that means you feel like you did something wrong. So now you have to push back. It's okay, dude. Hey, man. Hey, listen, dude. Let's talk real quick. You see, there's going to be things that we don't know everything about. you didn't know that TDR supported all of this, and that's okay, right? You didn't know.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So now that you do know, hey, just remove everything. Hey, guy. Now that you do know, and you look at the statue, how do you feel?
I feel like it needs to stay because American history needs to prevail.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
That's how you feel. Well, hey, man. If I told you that you're a fucking idiot.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. I don't want to label it that way. That's an irresponsible way to label it.
I think it's an interesting topic for sure, and it's something, it's a conversation that we get to keep having, and like Eric said, like, throw it in a fucking museum, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's cool to be
still
like
part of history in some form or fashion, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting thing because, like, what are we gonna do? Just tear it all down,
I don't know. I had a funny video I wanted to play, but our internet's not working, and that bums me out.
Send it.
And then I have this thing with Yoel Rodriguez, this man up in Jacksonville who I'm talking about. I feel like, dude, we've just been on a massive bummer thing.
Well,
dude.
I think the world is kind of a bummer right now. And like Mercury is still in retrograde and some other planets are in retrograde and like shit's just fucking, and coronavirus and
why does Mercury retrograde?
I don't know.
Why does it do that? And then, the internet doesn't work, and that's awesome.
Well,
that's okay, dude, because we just do this thing however it decides to throw it our way, and we're just gonna do it. So let me pull it up on my phone because this laptop isn't doing the thing. Okay, so video shows.
What are we talking about right now, first of all?
Pull it up on your phone, then you can follow along with me. So video shows off-duty Jacksonville officer punching man during a Walmart dispute. So here's how this thing goes, dude. Did you see this thing when I sent it to you?
Yeah, I think I watched it.
Yeah, so here's what happened. This gentleman is out with his family. He doesn't speak English. He's in Jacksonville, Florida, right?
Well, first of all, if you're in the country, learn English.
I was waiting for it, dude, and that's the thing. It's like, yo... Here's the thing. Okay, so essentially, let me
for beating up
summarize
this guy because he should know English.
Yeah, so it was okay. You should learn English, dude. What are you doing? So he deserved it. And I was seeing this reported through conservative things, and that's based. I don't even want to get into it before I get pissed off.
Yeah.
So what's happening is this man is with his family over the intercom. They're saying, "Hey, we're starting to close up soon. Please make your way towards the checkout lines. They're long lines." So he realizes he needs to go get a couple more things, and an employee tries to stop him. Hey, man, like, we're closing.
Well, his wife was standing in line, and he went to go back and grab something else.
So there's a language barrier, and so they call security. The security calls cops. There's an off-duty police officer right there, and what ends up happening?
I think the police officer was there already. I think because he was like making sure.
Let me see.
The Walmart was legit or not or whatever. Like everything was okay.
Well, why do we need internet?
But yeah, you're explaining the story, so.
Yeah, so the officer comes up to him very aggressively, right?
Yeah.
And he like, to get to this man, he takes a shopping cart, he pushes it, and then he pushes it into this man's child.
This little kid.
Into this little kid.
Yeah.
Okay, we're there. We're right there. We're right there. That's where we're at, right?
Yeah.
All right, now put yourself in that situation. This dude just pushes a cart into your 4-year-old child.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now?
I'm 0 to 100 real quick.
You're ready to punch him off.
Yeah.
So then the officer gets in this man's face, and he's obviously upset. He just pushed a cart into this man's kid. And so there's a language barrier. And so the dude's like...
He's trying to explain why he's angry.
Why he's angry, what's going on.
Language.
Yo, fuck Google Translate.
Yeah.
Fuck finding someone who may know the language. Fuck everything else. What does he do? He punches him in the face, breaks his nose. The dude falls to the ground, and he repeatedly punches him over and over and over and over again in front of his family, dude.
Yeah.
And in front of everybody else. And so what happens to him? He gets arrested, and he gets charged with felony assault on a peace officer.
Yeah.
But speak English, man. You're in America.
Yeah.
But speak English. You're in America.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, first of all, Walmart's just such a crazy place, man.
Stop
I'm
going
like
to
afraid
Walmart.
to go to Walmart.
Dude,
like,
I don't
I don't know
wanna
what's
go.
gonna happen next time I'm in
imagine
a
going
Walmart.
to Walmart in East County. Ooh.
It's a sketchy area,
Yeah,
but
dude.
yeah, I mean that. But this is another example of one of many examples. But I also want to be. This obviously is an egregious case. You know what I mean? Like this is obvious, but I do want to be careful with like just like every single incident being automatically like jumping like police are bad. You know what I mean? I would say in most cases that we've been seeing, yes, but it could also be used like it could be weaponized as well.
Like what?
Like I don't know. I haven't even really thought about this like through yet, but like let's just make an example up. Let's say I'm antagonizing a police officer, right?
Okay.
Like I'm purposely going out of my way to antagonize a police officer, and then like after I do whatever it is, whether it's get in the police officer's face, curse him out, you know, whatever, then I start like filming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then like
you're creating a situation that you can try to capitalize.
Yeah, and then something happens to me. I get arrested. Oh, why are you arresting me? You know, I was just like fucking talking, blah blah blah. And then I get arrested, and then it goes all over the fucking news. And then like, look, another fucking bad police officer. So I just want not that this is that.
No. I get what you're saying.
But I just
that could be a possibility.
We have to start. We have to with all the fucking flooding of stuff. We have to just be able to. I don't know, man. Am I right here? I don't even know.
No, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's an idea. Yeah.
It's just a thing that I have to think about. But
yeah. But should you deserve to get shot for doing that?
No. Well, no, you shouldn't get shot. You shouldn't get punched in the face in front of your family. You know, you shouldn't even be attacked for going to the fucking back to the aisle to go get some more toilet paper or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's obviously a huge power imbalance here. But this is America, man, and we get to work through this shit because you know
that man's a hero.
Yeah,
that man is a hero. Back to some,
yeah,
he's a hero. He helped build the wall, and he's making America great again.
Well,
and
so this you know all these issues that are coming up now. It's for our generation and generations after us to fix, because the whatever the generations before us. And this is like a whole nother fucking topic, and it might be, you know, a little bit tinfoil hat theory, but the generation before us basically didn't give a fuck enough to like fix some of these issues that were longstanding. They might have not seen it as issues. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like the way that the economy is, and the crazy amount of debt, and all the things that were like, and the climate change, global climate crisis, and all this shit. It's all stuff that we've known about for a while, and there has been no action taken on it.
Well, let's think about the positive attributes that our generation has been pushing. Before us, like we didn't care about mental health.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't even a thing. It's like he's
going to therapy. Did you hear? Right.
Yeah.
There was no like, hey, take time to yourself to make sure you're okay. I don't actually feel guilty about calling out sick to work now. It's actually like there's been a massive shift in that. Maybe not all places, but let's take some like personal, like some good stuff that our generation has done. We're normalizing mental health. We're normalizing self-care. We're normalizing our own growth. We're normalizing inclusion. We're normalizing all of these positive things that are starting to come about, right? Mm-hmm. Those are good.
Yeah.
The previous generation, like I still have to argue with my parents about the idea of therapy, you know?
Yeah.
About taking a sick day. Oh, no, you're fine. What are you talking about? Just take some Dayquil and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So you just took a day off? Like think of all these things that we have to do, like we struggle with dealing in our parents, but all of these things, like if I told you, it's like, yeah, man, I took a personal day, dude, I just needed a day off from work. You'd be like, yo, cool, man, that's dope. If you told that to anybody from the previous generation, it wouldn't be received that way.
Yeah, I would say most of them, yeah.
You know, I think we're doing a good job. We're doing as best as we can, as best as we know how in this present moment.
And a lot of the issues that we're facing now aren't going to be fixed by the end of our lives. You know what I mean? But like that's just how things are. Things take time. Ideas take time to permeate. Like we have to fully flesh out some of these things. What are the solutions? All right, let's come up with some solutions. Like this all takes fucking so long. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
you ready?
I mean,
are you ready for the work?
I mean, it's either that, it's like do or die, the way I see it. I mean, if we don't start making changes, especially with like climate, you know what I mean? If we don't start making our adjustments, I mean, what's...
No, man, I want my big-ass diesel truck, dude.
Yeah.
I want my truck. You coming after my truck?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that's like, all right.
Yeah.
And like the debt, the debt just across the world, but like our country's debt, our young people's debt, like, what are we doing here, guys?
Don't know.
What are we doing?
Here for a long time, just a good time, my brother.
Yeah.
Right. All right, man. We gotta get this thing wrapped up. Eric, where you at? You still in there?
Yeah, bro.
All right, plug your grum.
Eric_BigMoodCoach, bigmoodcoach.com.
Hey, what are you working on right now?
We have podcast drop on Monday, monologue. We have guests drop also on Monday. You guys drop on Wednesday. Another guest drops on Friday. So we have content being produced. And if you're listening, just stay tuned to the next drop.
Cool.
What's up with it?
Drop your grump.
Your boy is nice with an underscore in the middle. Your boy _ is nice. Check me out. No one's checking me out. Who fucking cares? But there is an Instagram there, and I'm occasionally doing stuff. So check it out.
Cool. And your boy's at Tortilla Scientist still. So yeah. That's all we got.
Yeah, dude.
We're just in here. Mercury's in retrograde.
We're just trying to figure shit out,
We're just in here
working through some ideas.
Goddamn thing. But
I don't even know what's happening, but we are broadcasting it to the world. So we kind of have to know what the fuck we're talking about a little bit.
Just a touch.
Just a tad, right?
All right, we out.
All right, send it, bro. Pop it. Lock it. Drop it.
Vultures circling above. They all in a piece, but they don't even know my name. Won't get even the swipe for the train. Cloudy, ride to the airport, gotta get right for the plane. Custom, smell like kush. Wifey hand in a tish. Yes, and I got no shame. Some line to shine. With a broker, they got no game. Waking up next to a scat. Can't go home to a thing. Nah, tell themselves they're the same. Really though, who can they blame? Now I don't blame them either. They just wanna play the game and they're eager still.